What's up, everybody, to another edition of Alternative Press Presents One on Gunz. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at The Gunz Show, Gunz with the Z. But for right now, stop, focus, pay attention. I am stoked. Let's go, baby. Incubus is in the house. Let's go. Woo. If you need a hype man, I'm really good at what I do.
Sweet.
So, you're right here.
Let's start it.
And it's funny you say that because we've got a lot to talk about, but you might need a hype man soon because, listen, it's 20 years. We just announced a tour that's going to be happening in the fall. Brandon, is that wild, or how are we describing that feeling?
The feeling of celebrating a record of 20 years, it's both exhausting and exhilarating all at once.
Right.
Yeah, it's that inimitable sensation of exhaustion and exhilaration.
Is it still grateful, or is it kind of just like, damn, it's like, shit, life happens?
Well, it's mostly gratitude. The vast majority of it's just like a deep, deep gratitude and some wonderment as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to believe that it has been 20 years, and then that's like the knee-jerk reaction, and then part of me is like, yeah, that's 20 years. We've done some work in that period of time, but it's been pretty outstanding, most of it. So there's something that I'm reflecting on as we've been reflecting back on being a band for almost 30 years, but celebrating 20 years of Make Yourself. I've been reflecting on the fact that I largely don't understand what we're doing, especially like from a lyrical point of view. Mm-hmm. It's more just like like you just spill the paint and then kind of arrange it and frame it later, right. And you try and make sense of it later. But a lot of it comes from people who listen to the music and they come back and like we hear their interpretations of our songs, and it's like, wow, that is what the song's about, and I didn't even realize it. You know? Right. So we're open to that kind of feedback as well. Mm-hmm. Like maybe the songs aren't about what we thought they were about.
Right. And I guess that's the beauty about music is that when you guys come out, or perhaps one of my favorite things, especially with like a band like you guys, the fact is make sure to listen with headphones because you know you can listen to a song 8 or 10 times and then still notice something to it, and that rules.
Absolutely. Yeah. Put your headphones on, listen to it on vinyl if you can, because you get that warm crackle in there, and it's a different experience for sure.
How do you guys keep a healthy balance? Sometimes you guys just, it's like coming off tour. The last thing you want to do is still talk to the same people you just toured with. Like, you need that separation. How is Incubus, for perhaps bands out there, just life in general, how has Incubus been able to keep it together for so long?
Good question.
I think
anybody can talk. They got a mic back there too. You guys can talk all you want to.
I think that space, we kind of had done making a record touring for like 15 years straight with really no breaks, and kind of got to a point where we were just pretty taxed emotionally, physically, and we did allow ourselves time to kind of do our own things. It took us a while to kind of figure out that would be a good positive thing for us to do. And so we've just learned to integrate that time as time goes on, because we're getting older, we have families, and we planted roots at home, which we hadn't done for so long. So I think allowing ourselves to go away, come back together, and just sort of continue to do that, not only made us stronger, but really appreciate what we do. It's like we get to create music, we get to share our music around the world, and that's not lost on us, and I think maybe for me personally, I know I took that for granted growing up doing this, and like only knowing that, it did take me stepping away and just kind of going through whatever I went through in my personal life to really look back and be like, wow, this is an incredible opportunity that not many people get to do. So I think everyone sort of has that awareness around it now. So, and we still love getting together, playing music, writing music. So it's been almost 3 decades, it's pretty incredible.
Would you say, compared to the beauty about Incubus is, and there's many of them, is people, when I was younger, all right, I'm 30 now, so I was young but getting into music. It was like, oh, the older brothers told you about this band named Incubus, and then like you were cool if you knew about them, and then obviously all the songs start coming out, but and then you're just like, everyone knows about them, which is fine, and then you lose some fans throughout the years, but then you also gain some new ones throughout it. But is there after you go through the major label and the drama and the pressures of follow up the hits and the obligatory hits and all that, was it a blessing or a curse that Incubus had such a unique sound for those follow-up albums, do you think?
I'd say that there's no such thing as any exclusive blessing or curse. Any blessing is also a curse if looked at under the right circumstances, and vice versa. So we have had our own unique meandering path in art and in music, and I think that largely we're all really appreciative of the fact that it has been unique to us. Yeah. And we continue to learn deeper appreciations for it as we spend more and more time together.
I guess, were there like any added or additional pressures? You know, I mean, you had been a band for so long, and were there any additional pressures going through the industry or anything like that, or kind of were you just like, F it, let's just do it our way?
There are always sort of existential pressures in the music industry, especially as it existed before. Okay. And there was something kind of liberating about it falling apart, that old paradigm of the music industry. Right. And watching it fall apart, and also being open to a completely new modality of making and putting out music. We were open to those ideas. And we were kind of ending our time with major labels anyway. Okay. So it was interesting to watch the whole thing kind of falling apart or restructuring as it looks now. And now we're in the great wide open. We haven't been signed to a record label in a couple of years. Right. And we've still been actively putting out music and touring and all these things.
The streaming as services have allowed that. I mean, you know, remember the MP3.com days in the beginning, you know? Like that was a huge step, or when A&R still existed, you know?
Yeah. There are still things that record labels can do really, really effectively, and we're not opposed to those things, but we haven't met our perfect lover yet in that regard with a record label. So we have new music coming out. We're probably going to do it in some independent fashion of some kind, but there are these new modalities available to us, like where you can hire independent help and things like that. So,
speaking of new music, do we have anything tracked, anything mixed, pre-pro, or are we just?
We have a new single coming out in about 3 weeks.
Love that.
And
Perfect.
then there are another 2 songs that we just finished mixing right before we came out to New York here a couple days ago, and then we're going to record a couple more, and we're just going to release them. Just stagger them out
organically, just
over the rest of the year. Yeah.
Cool. So it's all happening again then.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're just doing it a little bit differently. We're constantly in an experimental phase with not only the way that we make music, but in the way that we put it out, and the ways that we perform it, and the ways that we travel. We're always looking for new, different, better ways to adapt.
Cool. Let's jump into it. It is 20 years of Make Yourself. So let's jump into it. Did you realize what the potential of it was at the time, or were you guys just like, hey, let's just do it? Like, thinking back.
I've never had any expectations for anything that we've done other than like the love of it and the hope that we would finish what we set out to do. Yeah. So my expectations were pretty grounded. I think
cake's done.
Yeah. I'll get it. I think that it was the first time that I had heard what one might call like a single coming out of our band. I know we had like choruses before where they were kind of like big and anthemic feeling choruses, but it was the first time that I had heard us come up with something that was like, well, that's kind of like memorable. People might like this, and it was also kind of scary because it was very different from anything we did before. Right. So Scott Litt came in at the very end of the process and helped hyper focus on what became the singles on the record. But then he mixed it, and we were really enamored of his work he had done with Nirvana. Of course. So he helped make the record sound pretty incredible. We also had an amazing engineer for Make Yourself and Morning View, this cat named Elvis. And so that's a big part of it as well. It's like we had written a group of songs, but engineering and producing is another animal altogether to become like sort of 6th and 7th members of the band. Right.
No, of course. And you have to put trust in them, faith in them, and be able to fingers crossed and let's go. You know what I mean? And
we knew this was not a leap of faith. Elvis was pretty spectacular as an engineer, and Scott Litt, obviously, his wife speaks for himself.
Yeah, couple names there. Nirvana, R.E.M., no biggie. Yeah, couple there. What can we expect with these new tracks, or what kind of vibe, or is it just Incubus is Incubus? I think that's one of the cool things is you never really know what you're going to get, but you're going to love it.
That's part of it. Ben, you want to take a swing at this?
Yeah, at this point, the search continues for us. We're still trying to figure out what Incubus is, and it's been an enjoyable adventure. And I think the sound reflects that. We're still searching for it, and hopefully we never find it, because that means we keep going.
Love that. Love that. You are good. You are, yeah. What the hell? Come on now, right? Yeah.
Vote for me.
We might need some of that sooner than later with everything that's going on. Couple questions, real quick. Do you think, because the internet, social media, this technological era that we're all obsessed with, whether we want to be or not, do you think it's harder or more difficult for artists these days to take those leaps and bounds that they would have been able to do in the past?
I have no idea.
No. I don't.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be, because there's more of everything all at once, all at the same time. So if you take one of those leaps and you fail, you kind of have less to lose. You need to be more aggressive at being creative now. If you do what you did the last time, it is very easy for someone to say, I heard it the first time, I don't need the second time. New is exciting. What else you got? So I think as an artist now in this climate, you have to be reaching for those answers.
A little bit of a rapid fire round real quick. What artist would you want to see that could do 3 full albums in their entirety?
3 is a lot of albums. Yeah. I couldn't watch anyone play 30 songs. Unless it was
I had a lot of Modelos, let me tell you. I had a lot of Modelos to get me going. Yeah.
If it was a punk rock band with 1-minute songs, I'd be into it, but that's a lot. But 3 albums, who's got 3 bang? Oh, Rage Against the Machine.
Rage would be sick.
Absolutely, top to bottom. They could start at the beginning of their catalog and get to the end of their catalog, and what was left by the last song would be shredded.
Yeah, and they would still crush it on stage throughout every single song.
Yes.
Because Zach and Tom and everybody's energy is like second to none. You know what I mean?
That's a good answer too.
You go with Rage?
I was gonna say either Fish or Rage Against the Machine.
Okay. Right.
Maybe they it's a dual bill.
Yeah.
60 songs.
Imagine that crowd.
Yeah.
That crowd would be.
It'd be very alternative.
Yeah, right?
I'd say the Police.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Ghost of the
good.
Machine, Synchronicity. All of them.
Triple bill.
The
90 songs.
So get ready.
When they hit an LSD as you walk in the door, and you just go for it.
Shot of
7
vitamin D.
hours, yeah.
What was the it's a hard question, but biggest, or how about this? First time do you remember the first time you heard one of your songs on the radio or saw a music video for it?
Very specifically.
Okay.
We were at like a putt-putt place in Woodland Hills. We were just like knocking balls. I was always a terrible golfer. I stopped probably that day. But we got a call from our manager, and he's like, this radio station, K-Rock in Los Angeles, they're going to play your song in like 10 minutes. So we all kind of rushed to the car and turned it on, and they pardon me. It's very exciting. You never really can anticipate how it's going to feel to hear your song and then know that like tens of thousands or like 100,000 people are listening to it at a given time. But the coolest part is that when your track's played on the radio for some reason, they run it through these special magical compressors. When you hear it go through the FM signal, it sounds like badass.
Okay.
In any way that you could ever mix it in the studio.
Right.
So like it basically like supports the nuts of the song in a way that is very special.
Back in the MTV days, unfortunately, you guys did the Cribs. Did you really all live together and have some fun?
We
in a certain room?
We were I jokingly refer to as squatting in that mansion in Malibu. We rented that house and there was no furniture or anything like that. So we all moved in there for like 6 months and we wrote and recorded Morning Dew in that house. And there was like a special attic that we kind of like filled up with blacklight posters and bongs and stuff. It's
Fun, yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
You guys, listen, you guys got me through you can only imagine, well, you don't have to imagine, but I had a lot of fun with your music and still do throughout the years. So, very cool. Check them out. Real quick, I don't want to make this sad or down or anything, but I actually want to know this answer. I know Mike's not here, but I saw that he had worked with Avicii on this stuff, and he's in Netflix doc, so I can't really ask him. You guys want to speak for him. But, it seems like, I don't know, because everyone's more on social media or things are, word's getting out there that much more. You see someone like Chester or Anthony Bourdain or Avicii that unfortunately, I don't know if it's happening more, but we're becoming more aware of whether it's mental health or just these terrible situations, especially in music. Do you have anything for anybody out there? Did you have a relationship with Avicii, like, or Chester, or anything, like, do you have anything that you want to say, or even Chris Cornell? You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, it's happening.
The only one of the four that you mentioned that I hadn't met was Anthony Bourdain, but I loved his show. It was actually something that would keep me company when we were like traveling abroad. It would be on like on CNN late at night when you can't sleep, and he would be there. So that was a pretty rough loss. But yeah, not to get too dark on you, but statistically, suicide rates are kind of skyrocketing, and there's any number of reasons why, but one factor that we do know is has to do with social media and social media presence, and probably expectations around mental health and things like that. And so I like to remind my fellow humans out there that it's okay to have a bad day, and that everything that you're seeing on social media is not essentially real. Even the shiniest, glossiest people that we're witnessing on social media, they're curating the experience that you're having of them, like finely curating. And so it can be misleading. The truth is that everybody is going through something at some point in their life. And if you aren't going through something, something's kind of more wrong with that. You know, we are who we are because of the things that we endure and make sense of. By making sense of suffering, we are becoming stronger, more enlightened humans. So I would just remind my fellow humans that it's going to be okay. They're not alone, and
it's okay to not feel okay, because you
feel okay. It's okay to have a bad day. You know what I mean? Because there will be another day. You'll get another chance the next day.
Well, listen, a great place to surround yourself with a lot of people, and perhaps like-minded people, or at least everyone's there for the same thing, would be the Incubus Make Yourself 20th Anniversary Tour, because...
Good recommendation.
You know what I mean? And just, you know, whether it's crack a beer, blaze a blunt, whatever you need, or just sing along, scream your feelings out, all the emotions. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. Incubus, thank you guys so much for coming by. One on Gunz, courtesy of ALTPRESS.